You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the November 18th meeting for the Michigan City Common Council. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Tuesday, November 18th, Michigan City Council meeting. If you would please silence all your electronic devices, stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silent prayer. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America,
to the republic
which stands one nation under
indivisible.
visible liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. Beatry? Mr. Coulter?
Present.
Mr. Dabney?
Present.
Dr. Cora?
Present.
Ms. Lee? Ms. Moldenhauer?
Present.
Mr. Nelson?
Present.
Mr. Prespolinski?
Present.
Ms. Tillman? Okay, so there's 6 present and 3 absent.
And Ms. Lee, Mr. Beatry, and Ms. Tillman were excused for this evening's meeting.
Excuse me, John. I sent you a message earlier letting you know that I was ill. This is Bryant, and okay, I didn't hear my name in that excused segment there.
Well, yeah, but you're present. You're on Zoom, so you're present.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Approval of minutes?
So moved. Support.
There's a motion for approval and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Reports of standing committees? None. Finance Committee?
Mr. President,
Councilman Cora?
the Finance Committee did not meet today, but I just want to read the statement of cash position as of November 30th, 2025. Fund 2235, which is the Riverboat Fund, has a balance of $4,994,007.67. And Fund 2236, which is the Rainy Day Fund, has a balance of $1,434,337.92 for a grand total of $6,428,345.59. Mr. President, we also had some claims. There are basically 2 claims here for a total of $128,170.25 from the Rainy Day Fund. One was for A+ Plumbing and Heating, which we had already approved for the cooler for this building, and that was paid. So that was $110,745.25, and Northwest Indiana Asphalt for taking care of the paving of our parking lot of this building, and that was $17,425 for a total of $128,170.25. I make a motion to accept this financial report.
Thank you, Councilman Cora. There's been a motion to accept the claims. Is there a second?
I second.
There's a second. Madam Clerk, on the vote, please.
Mr. Nelson?
Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski?
Aye.
Mr. Coulter?
Aye.
Mr. Dabney?
Aye.
Dr. Cora?
Aye.
And Ms. Moldenhauer?
Aye.
6 in favor, 0 opposed.
Okay, thank you. Claims are paid. That's taken care of. Reports from any boards or commissions this evening? Reports from any boards or commissions this evening? There are none? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Chair, I guess I should say. I have a report from the Michigan City Sustainability Commission. Our Recycle Smart Do Your Part workshop was actually held last Wednesday, November 12th. And there was a mix-up in the dates because Sacha Guy Burns and I both had down the 12th and the 19th as that workshop happening. And when I checked with City Hall, it was actually on the calendar for the 12th. So we went ahead and had it. We will be scheduling another workshop for the spring, for those of you who are planning to come tomorrow evening, because we won't be here. We had a small yet extremely enthusiastic group who learned a lot about what's recyclable and what needs to be thrown into the trash. Also, Northwest Indiana Green Drinks will not meet in December per our customary holiday break, but we'll be back the second Thursday in January. It won't be the first Thursday because that's New Year's Day. And our executive director, Betsy Mayer of Save the Dunes, will be there. She'll give a very exciting update of a new partnership between that organization and the Indiana Dunes National Park. So I hope you'll join us for that via Zoom or Facebook Live. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any other reports of special or select committees?
Mr. President.
Dr. Cora?
Yeah, I don't have a report, but I just want to let everybody know that we have scheduled a meeting for the Public Health and Safety Committee on December 11th in this chamber. It'll be at 5 p.m. This is to address the health and safety concerns related to homelessness, which was brought up at this meeting by several members of the public at last month's meeting. And the mayor is already working on this problem, trying to address and resolve some of the issues. So, but we are going to get together as a community, as a group, to see how best to address this with the compassion that this situation deserves, but also to make sure that the property owners, the business owners can live and do their business without any interference. So it's not going to be an easy thing to deal with, but it nevertheless it has to be dealt with, and we have to address and take care of this. And anybody who has any suggestions, thoughts, ideas as to how best to address this, you're welcome to attend that meeting on December 11th, 2025 from 5 to 7 p.m. In this chamber. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Yeah, and Doctor, I just have a question on that. So I know the folks that were here complaining a couple of weeks ago were mainly from the downtown area. Yeah, but this is going to address homelessness
Across the city.
throughout the whole city. Yeah, so I just want the public to know that.
Correct.
So wherever you live, you can come and comment. It's just not Franklin Street north of 11th. It's all Franklin Street from City Hall, out to I-94 and all blocks in between.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Reports from mayor or other city officers and departments? Any reports from any city departments? Okay, thank you. Moving right along. Are any petitions before us?
Sorry. The following petition was received in the clerk's office, and this is carried over from the November 4th meeting until the November 18th, 2025 council meeting. A formal petition and legal objection to Economic Improvement District, EID, declaration pursuant to Indiana Code 36-7-22, ET, SEQ, and 6-1.1-11-4.
Okay, thank you. And in speaking to our council attorney, Jill Harris, he said that he's not ready yet to provide any findings that he has, but he'll have it ready for the next council meeting. Okay, so it'll be ready for the next council meeting. So if you would, Madam Clerk, change the date on the bottom to our first meeting, right, in December? Yeah. Okay. Any communications?
Correspondence was received in the clerk's office on November 13th from President Tillman to Rodney McCormick regarding comments made at the November 4th meeting. Correspondence was received in the clerk's office on November 7th from North Shore Health Center inviting the council to their Winter Wonderland Gala. Correspondence was received in the clerk's office on November 5th from Homeward Bound Villages regarding an invitation to the Carwick Village ribbon cutting. The following letters of support was received in the clerk's office regarding the proposed amendments to the revolving loan ordinance from Antonio Conley on November fifth, Kamisha Williams on November fourth, Tina Mahome on November fourth, Donald Babcock on November third, Hitachi Global, November third, Franciscan Health, November third, and Horizon Bank on November third. Correspondence was received from Mayor Angie, updating the status of the disruption to the city's computers. Correspondence was received in the clerk's office on November third from Fire Chief Barrett Taylor regarding the October 25 stat report. And correspondence was received in the clerk's office on October 31st from Mr. McCormick regarding concerns with the Economic Development Biber Playbook and certification.
Gentrification.
There we go. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Our first resolution before us this evening.
A resolution by title only, a resolution increasing and decreasing certain appropriation within the budgets of the local road and street fund 2202 for the year 2025 in Michigan City, Indiana, introduced by Ms. Tillman.
And in speaking to the council attorney, Mr. Harris, this afternoon, because I knew that President Tillman wasn't going to be here, and she's the one that's introduced this resolution, that he said it was legally okay for me to go ahead and put myself down as the sponsor. So I am going to sponsor this resolution. So is there anyone from the council that would like to come? Well, I'm the one that's sponsoring it. So, okay, so what do we have here is $65,000 that the street department is asking from the city to purchase more salt for the winter. And is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak on this? Mr. Smith, street superintendent's here this evening.
Excuse me, good evening, City Council. Sean Smith, Director of Streets, City of Michigan City. I come before the council today to approve a transfer for road salt. Currently, I would need, $65,000 to complete a purchase, roughly 600 ton of road salt. We previously had a snow event and it didn't wipe us out, but it kind of dipped into our city salt supply. So all we're asking to do is approve this transfer so we can replenish the city salt supply.
Okay. Well, I have a question for you.
Yes.
So where we're at right now with our supply, I mean, are we real low? And this is like an emergency purchase that has to be purchased. So if we have another 10-inch snow event like we had.
We're a little bit over 50%, but if we get this purchase, this will put us at full capacity to get us through until 2026.
Oh, okay. Very good. All right. Anyone else from the public wish to speak? Anyone else from the public wish to speak this evening? Having none? Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you.
Any council comments?
That's for also.
What is the average cost on salt per year?
It varies, what type of salt you use. We're using, a basic rock salt right now is sodium chloride. With delivery, it's roughly, $104 per ton. If you get something a little bit stronger than that, coated with magnesium chloride, it's pre-treated. It works at lower temperatures. You're looking at roughly 120 to 130 per ton. So it varies what type of salt you use.
In comparison to salt.
Councilman Nelson? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Since you're on Zoom, and in order to be recognized by the chair, is that we have to see you and also hear you. So if there's some way to put your picture on, there you go. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Far as salt, is there an alternative for our sand, considering we have a beachfront?
Not necessarily. I understand. We used to run sand, but it's rough on drains. I believe that would be a MS4 issue. We only use sand when it's a critical phase, like an ice storm. You use it for traction, but for the most part, strictly road salt.
Okay, that answered my question. I know I've seen sand in the past being used, besides salt. So I was just wondering, what's the advantages or disadvantages between using salt and sand?
Well, sand is basically for traction. I mean, it could be used for economic purpose, but rock salt melts roads. That's what it is. It's there. It starts a melting process a little quicker than sand salt mix, excuse me.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Carter.
Okay, thank you, Councilman. Any other questions by Councilman? None?
Motion
To approve.
Okay, there's been a motion by Councilman Coulter and,
All right, I'll support it.
okay, and seconded by Councilman Dabney.
Mr. Prespolinski?
Yes.
Mr. Coulter?
Aye.
Mr. Dabney?
Aye.
Dr. Cora?
Aye.
Ms. Moldenhauer?
Aye.
Mr. Nelson?
Aye.
6 in favor, 0 opposed.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Smith. Okay, Madam Clerk, our first ordinance on first reading before us this evening.
An ordinance on first reading by title only, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the general fund for payment of remaining salaries and benefits of the police and fire department. And this is introduced by Ms. Tillman and Mr. Dabney.
And would the sponsors like to speak on the ordinance? Councilman Dabney?
Yes, real quick. This is an ordinance where we're doing a transfer to cover what I believe is overtime for police and fire, and then some other benefits out there as well. I didn't get a chance to get exactly what we're having there, the additional benefits, but I know to cover overtime in that police and fire.
Okay, thank you, Councilman. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak on this ordinance? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? Any council comments? Councilwoman Mollenauer?
I do recognize that overtime is sometimes necessary, but I'm going to go back to what we were told by both the police and fire department leadership, that with them having full staff, that overtime would not be necessary that much any longer. So I'm just asking about this much of a transfer of funds. Thank you, Councilman Dabney, if you're able to address that.
No, that would probably be a question for the chiefs, who would be responsible for the scheduling of workers that would create overtime. I just know that we're in a position where we need to cover such issues. So that would probably be a better thing to explain from the people who run that department.
I can answer just from a financial standpoint. Mary Lynn Wall, the city controller, the city of Michigan City. As of right now, both police and fire are over in that line item for overtime. Once again, you got to realize that in the very first budget that Mayor Angie prepared, we tried to make it as lean as possible. She made a lot of cuts, and one of the major cuts she made was in overtime for police and fire. And I think it's really come that maybe the cuts were too deep. And so you have to remember, like in the budget process that we've just been through, this budget was prepared in the fall of 2024 to try to project into 2025. And so right now they are over in the line item for overtime. As far as comparing that to whether they're full staff or not, yes, like Bryant said, Councilman Dabney said that, you know, the chiefs would have to answer that question, but I know from a financial standpoint, and I'd like to add that if we're appropriating this money from the general fund, the police and fire are paid from the general fund. So any monies that maybe will not be used will just go back to the general fund at the end of the year. So because we're at the end of the year, we have to have the process to go through all the readings and the public hearing at the next council meeting. We really have to take a proactive approach to just make sure that we're not over budget in the whole budget for the police and fire. So that's why we took the position to go ahead and appropriate the money, just to make absolutely sure. And it will stay in the general fund if it's not used, but the line items are actually over the budgeted amount right now.
Okay, thank you. Are you done, Councilwoman? Okay, Councilman Nelson's up next.
Okay. I was under the impression that the lit fund.
Councilman, we need to see your face on the screen. Thank you.
Okay. I was under the impression that the lit fund pays for police and fire department. So have we ran out of money with the fire and lit? Also on the same.
Go ahead, Marilyn.
It is. It's budgeted both in the public safety lit, and yes, that money is used. That money has been that money has been used up too for this year. So it's all public safety lit is for their salaries, but that's also incorporated into the budget. So the budget is what does not have enough money appropriated in the budget. So we're appropriating money from public safety lit also to help cover these costs too in the next ordinance.
Okay, so with that being said, did we underestimate when we put the budget in for the police and fire?
Yes. Back in 2024, when we did the budget, we cut the police and fire overtime a little bit too much. So it was the first budget, and that's why we maintain adequate cash balances, unappropriated cash balances in the general fund. And we do have a cash balance in the public safety lit to appropriate up to pay these salaries. And we still have 4 more payrolls to pay to the end of the year. And really, you just don't know what's going to happen. So we need to make sure that we have adequate monies in case there is additional overtime to be paid.
And just to make sure I'm clear, this is to accommodate overtime and extra work for the police department, correct?
Yes, police and fire.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm just trying to figure out what are they doing extra for me to vote yes on them, on giving them this money. That's where I'm at with things. So is there anybody from the police department to represent what's being appropriated? I'm just tired of appropriating things with no representation.
Okay. Any more questions, Councilman Nelson?
No, sir.
Okay. Dr. Cora?
Thank you. My question is for Controller Marilyn. Do we have enough money in the general fund to withdraw this money?
Oh, absolutely. That's why we talked about this during the budget process. And I think and actually Councilman Prespolinski asked the same question. Oh. Yes, that's why it's really important to maintain adequate unappropriated cash balances in the general fund for things that could happen. And that way we can appropriate the money up, because we don't have the money in the riverboat and other funds that we used to always go to for additional appropriation. So that's why we're able to appropriate it directly from the general fund. And once again, what is not spent will just revert back to the general fund in their cash balance to roll over into 2026.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions by the council members? Councilman Coulter?
I got one.
So Marilyn, just really quick. We're dipping into the general fund a lot. Do you have in front of you, because the math I'm doing really quickly is about 500,000 plus 300,000 plus
960.
Thank you. I'm good at this. You know what I'm about to.
Yeah, and like I said, this question was already asked, and I still have a cash balance of $4.4 million at the end of 2025.
Thank you.
So that's why, yes, we've already that question was already asked of me. So, yep.
Okay, Councilman Nelson? Did you have another question?
Councilman Coulter kind of answered that, where it's like, what do we have left in reference to what we're trying to give to them?
Okay. All right. You got your answer, correct? Councilman? No, you have your answer?
Yes, I got it.
0.6 million? Okay, thank you. All right. I have one question, Mary Lynn, since you're up. Yeah, and I understand, we have to appropriate this money to pay these bills. But what I want from the controller's office, from here on out, okay, is a monthly report on overtime from the fire department and the police department. And maybe you and I can sit down and discuss what level that needs to have an explanation come with it. Say if you have overtime over 25,000 for that month, then you have to explain where that $25,000 came from, instead of just coming at the end of the year and saying, well, we need 300,000. 300. We know it's on overtime, but why was this overtime accrued? Was somebody sick? Did they have to cover a shift? Something like that. You know what I'm talking about,
Okay,
Mary Lynn. So yeah. So next month, December, at the end of December, I'd like to see that report.
okay. I'll reach out to the chiefs.
Okay?
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
All right. Is there anyone else? I think we're on public comment.
So in answer to your question, why there's so much overtime, I think all of our citizens know why there's so much overtime. We hear the police sirens, we hear the fire trucks. There was just a shooting by my house where my kids play basketball. 2 kids were shooting at each other in the alleyway. I think everyone knows why we have overtime, and questioning it at this point seems a little ignorant to me.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Pardon?
Name and address.
Oh, sir, we need your name and address.
My name is Joshua Spears.
Can you go to the microphone, please, so we can hear you?
2108 Pear Street. You guys can look it up. There was a shooting right by my house. My name is Joshua Spear.
Okay, thank you. Yep. Yes, ma'am.
I'm here over there, there.
No, right here.
I have more of a question and concern. Chevy Woodard, 7401 West US Highway 20, Michigan City, Indiana. I am out in the county. However, I am vested within the Michigan City community, being a school employee for the last 11 years and school bus driver as well. With the asking for the increase of money to go into the overtime, and with the controller saying that if there's anything that's unused, it would go back, what kind of assurances can the controller office give in terms of public interest that the money will go back? And is there any estimate in terms of, how much overtime you have to pay? So how much of that money is actually going to go back? And are there any assurities saying as though this is taxpayer dollars that's going into this overtime? So what assurances, and are there any estimates in terms of how much overtime you have to pay, therefore you would then know how much would go back, versus at the end of the year saying, oops, we used it all, and nothing goes back?
Okay, thank you. Any other comments from the public? Okay. Go ahead.
Shelley Yankee, 904 Willow Springs Drive. Maybe the cost of all this overtime is from the data center and all the problems that the data center created. And we weaponized our police department against the citizens and the unions around here.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else from the public wish to speak? Public comment is now closed. Any comments from the council? Any council comments? Yeah, okay. Thank you. And also, this ordinance was advertised, or will be advertised in the Herald Argus. And there will be a formal public hearing on December the 2nd on this ordinance. Madam Clerk, our next ordinance on first reading by title only.
An ordinance on first reading by title only, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the Public Safety Lit Fund for payment of remaining salaries and benefits of the police and fire department. This is introduced by Ms. Tillman and Mr. Dabney.
And would the authors like to comment on it? Councilman Dabney?
Yes, this is the same type of situation as the other ordinance that we heard on first reading just a second ago. But this one is coming out of the public safety lit. So we're using the two different funds in order to cover these overtime expenses and things like that. And I just want to explain something in regard to the way the budget was set up at the very beginning. The mayor had a bunch of budget hearings throughout the beginning of the year and so forth. And we were talking about where she was going to be cutting a lot of money from these different sources, overtime and things of that sort. And then if overtime would not exceed what's out there, we would then just be able to go into still the general fund. Now, we're making it sound like we're possibly pulling money like from the riverboat or something like that, but it's actually from the general fund where the money is actually already budgeted from. So it's not like we're pulling from an additional source like the riverboat or the rainy day fund or something like that to cover overtime. It was just the actual amount that was put out there just left a cushion still in the general fund. And if they did not use so much in overtime, then that money would have just gone back into the general fund. But they were able, or they are using it. But once again, it's still coming from the general fund. It's not as if we're taking an additional dollar amount from Riverboat or some other fund to transfer in to cover. It's coming out of general fund and in the public safety lit, which was also passed by us or the county, which came down to us in order to cover salaries and things of that sort. But it was cut at the very beginning, and hopefully, if they did not get up to that level, money just would have stayed where it is. So that's some of the explanation on some of these things, and that's going to apply to a bunch of these other appropriations that we're going to see coming down the line as well tonight.
Thank you, Councilman. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? Having none, any council comments?
Motion to support.
Councilman
Approve.
Cortez. Pardon?
Motion to approve. Oh, we're on first reading.
First reading. Yeah. First reading.
Well,
We're okay. We're okay. All right. And also again, this ordinance is going to be advertised in the Herald News Dispatch on November 19th, and there will be a formal public hearing on December 2nd, which is our next council meeting. Madam Clerk, our next ordinance on first reading by title only.
An ordinance on first reading by title only, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the Board of Works Department of the General Fund for utility expenses. And this is introduced by Mr. Beatry and Dr. Fora.
And does the author have anything you'd like to add this evening?
Mr. President, this is a balance of $120,000, $20,000 for telephone bills, increase in the telephone account, and another $100,000 increase in the utilities street lighting account because they need the extra money to cover those costs.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you.
Anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? I do have a question for Mary Lynn. Yeah, Mary Lynn, so is it that we just underestimated the line item for the budget and we have to take it from the general fund and pay these utilities?
Cool. Yeah, Mary Lynn Wall, City Controller, City, Michigan City. Yes, kind of how, same thing as Councilman Dabney had mentioned earlier. When Mayor Angie prepared the budget back in 2024, we made it bare bones. We cut a lot. We tried to make it as lean as possible, knowing that we can always appropriate more money into the general fund if needed. both of these expenses are things that we can tell the department, don't buy any more supplies. We're out of money. But these are NIPSCO bills.
Mhm.
And we're already over the line item for NIPSCO, and we still have until the end of the year to pay the rest of the NIPSCO bills. The other bill is telephone bills. And quite frankly, yes, we didn't budget enough back when we prepared the budget in 2024 for 2025, because we were trying to make the general fund as lean as possible. And same that luckily we have, and we know we have enough money to appropriate from the general fund, because had we put that money in the NIPSCO in the lighting line item, it would have came from the general fund. So there really isn't any difference in the funding source where this money's come from. So
Right.
we're just making sure that we have enough to cover, because we don't know what our bills are going to be for the next month.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
All right. Any other questions, comments from council?
Yes, I got one.
Okay, go ahead,
He
Councilman
needs to
Dabney.
turn his camera on.
Pardon?
This is for the,
Councilman Nelson, point of order. Thank you.
this is for the utilities, correct?
Yes, they're NIPSCO bills.
Okay, who's determining where we are putting this money at? Because I need a light on Huron and Willard Street, and I've been getting resistance for the last year and a half on that. So to vote yay or nay on something, and I'm not being prioritized, I find that, I find that just flattening for the most part. When it comes to these things, when we're appropriating money, like how are y'all going about determining where the money is being appropriated to? Is my question.
Well, once again, this is just general, a reoccurring NIPSCO bills that we have for our street lighting. And when we prepared the budget, we just did not budget enough into the line item.
Okay, so what's extra that we're budgeting into?
It's not extra. We just don't have the actual line item in the budget is going to be negative if we do not add some more money to the line item. And we can't not pay the NIPSCO bills.
Okay, so y'all
And it was-
underestimated it.
Yep. Yes.
Okay, is that pretty much the consensus with all these appropriations on tonight's orders, where y'all underestimated things?
Pretty much. And I think a council and I think, once again, it was alluded to earlier, that we try to keep our budget, especially the general fund, as lean as possible, knowing that we can always appropriate money from the general fund, go through the process. This way we don't have extra funds in our official budget.
Okay, so
That's why we
just as
keep an adequate cash balance.
So just as easily as y'all are appropriating things for things that need to be done, I can appropriate things as well. That's for stuff that I need to be done, correct?
Well, actually, additional appropriations would start from the mayor's office, so.
Okay, so the mayor determines what needs to be appropriated and then I have to vote on it. So me as a council person, I can't appropriate anything.
No.
No.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Councilman. Oh, go ahead, Councilman Mullenhour.
Thank you.
Woman.
I probably don't have to remind any of you here in the audience, nor the people, nor my fellow council persons that are sitting up here on the dais. The NIPSCO did increase our utilities by 17%. And I know all of you have felt the pain of that. So the city equally is feeling the effects of that. So this doesn't come as a surprise to me. So I just wanted to bring up what's probably obvious to a lot of people that are here this evening.
Dabney has his hands raised.
Yeah, go ahead, Councilman Dabney.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. I just want to make just give an example of how this is all working. All right. We have our general fund budget. All these things are budgeted out of the general fund. Let's just say I'm just going to use small numbers and make it very clear how it's working here. Say we had $1,000 in the general fund that could be put in all of these accounts, but the mayor took those down to 500, hoping that some of these costs would not rise above 500, because if they did not, then all that money that's extra in the general fund would stay in that general fund. So what's happening now is she cut it down to 500, but now it's going up to say 750. So the general fund is still being used to fund all of these accounts. As you see on the orders there, it says it's being appropriated from the out of the general fund. She just got put these dollars up front, but she lowered it. And let's say for some reason that the last ordinance that we were talking about, that the overtime and that did not exceed what she cut the budget to. Then we would have to go into the general fund. I think it's a little bit of confusion with people thinking that we're possibly taking it from, the riverboat or something to that effect, another funding source. I do know there's one later though that talks about something like that with the rainy day fund, but the most part, the last four that we discussed, it's general fund dollars. It'd be like you having $20 in your pocket and saying, okay, I'm only going to spend 15, but then you need 17. So now you just take $2 more out of your 20, but that money was already out there to be used from that fund. So it's not like I said, we're dipping into an additional funding source. If everything was coming out of Riverboat, that's a different ball game. Now you've gone over budget, and now we're doing additional appropriations, as Mary Lynn mentioned a minute ago, to cover such expenses. And that's not the way it's still coming out of the general fund.
Thank you, Councilman. And just to add on that when the SNPSCO appropriation increase was being talked about last fall, the mayor and I spoke because I asked her what the amount of increase would it be that affected the city. And she went back and did a study, and our utility bill right off the bat for 2026 is going to go up $200,000. So that's the effect that the NIPSCO rate increase is going to have on the city. And it might be that hopefully we appropriated that much and budgeted that much for 2026, but if not, we'll see how the utility bill works out, and we may be back here next December appropriating some more money to cover any overruns on the NIPSCO bill. All right, any other comments by council members on this ordinance? Yeah. I got it. Yeah, and it's like the other ordinances. This one here will also be in the Herald Dispatch on November the 19th. And a formal public hearing will be held December the 2nd at our next council meeting. Madam Clerk, the next ordinance on first reading, please.
An ordinance first reading by title only, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the general fund for payment of medical claims. And this is introduced by Mr. Beatry and Dr. Cora.
And does the sponsor have anything he'd like to add this evening?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Maryland Controller, can you step up to the mic if you don't mind? I think this whole health care funding is so complicated. Are we self-insured?
Yes, the Maryland Wall City Controller. Yes, we are self-insured. And so this is one of the expenses that we absolutely cannot control. We are trying to have our employees. We want our healthy employees. In fact, this next year, we're having new plans where employees may have to pay a little bit more in their co-pays and deductibles to try to help mitigate the cost of medical insurance. But as everybody knows, medical costs are increasing. And from the 2026 budget, we've had to increase the amount that we charge each department for medical costs for each employee. And we saw this rising in 2025. But the costs that we had estimated for medical costs, once again, were not sufficient. I even speaking with, we have monthly meetings with our insurance partners to talk about some of our medical claims, to talk about what we can do to help can't lower them, but help to manage them. And this year has really been, I can't speak about certain any certain claims, or this has been a high claim year. And
Yeah.
it's just reality. Plus we have the end of the year to go through. So this is why we need this, because it's been an unusually high medical cost claim year. Hopefully next year won't be so bad.
It depends on how many people got like sicknesses that were extremely expensive, which is unpredictable.
Surgeries, correct. When this is something we cannot, we have to pay the claims. There's no doubt about that. So we would need to make sure we have adequate money to pay the claims from now until the end of the year.
And the way the self-insurance works is we have to pay the claims till a certain dollar amount, and after that, reinsurance kicks in. Is that correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. We do have stop loss insurance that if someone really has a catastrophic illness, then that will kick in. But sometimes you can just have enough people that just have smaller claims that add up. Plus, we've had some. So we've had stop loss kick in, but we still need additional monies to put in just to assure ourselves that we'll have money till the end of the year.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
No further comments.
Thank you, Doctor. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak on this ordinance? Anyone from the public?
Hello, Council. Scott Mellon, 200 Kenwood Place. All these appropriations are sort of a good news, bad news situation. If I recall correctly, Mayor was able to reduce the budget for 2025 approximately $6 million from the previous year. Today, we're adding back approximately $1 million of that. So the bad news is we're kicking in $1 million, but we're still $5 million ahead of where we were before. So that's one way to look at it. These medical claims, I know we can't talk about personnel matters, but this is a pretty big line item. Is it represented by any one department? Is this like workers' comp claims from our refuse guys who are getting hurt? As has been disclosed in the past, that is the number one source of our medical claims, are guys working our refuse department. I'm curious if that's still the case, if that's something that can be shared, or if this is something, we had a couple heart attacks or something that can't be shared. But again, good news, bad news. We're still $5 million about lower budget than we had in 2024. And we've all been hit by NIPSCO. That was the other thing. Do we have a preferred rate with NIPSCO, or are we just another industrial user paying a standard industrial rate, or do they have like a municipal rate that, we can benefit from? Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Chevy Woodard, 7401 West US Highway 20. What the gentleman just said, I think that for the vast majority of the public, for the citizens of Michigan City, when you clarify and then convey, I don't know if you guys heard it, but I heard a few people say, oh. So instead of just saying, we need to just put more money into overtime, or we need to put more money into because there's medical bills, the way this gentleman just broke it down, this is a good news, bad news situation. But the absolute great news is that we're still $5 billion under budget. So we could have saved a lot of this conversation by giving an explanation like he just gave. We probably would have moved on down the agenda. Because I can assure you that that's the concern of the citizens of Michigan City as to why they're asking all these questions, because the end game is that they are the constituents that voted everyone into office. Second, he had another great comment that he made in terms of, are we just a traditional ratepayer, or do we have some sort of, corporate rate from NIPSCO? I would like to add that Governor Braun did an interview with Jerry Dick of IBJ Media about a month ago. And essentially, what he said was that he signed legislation allowing utilities to recoup costs from customers for exploring new energy sources, such as small modular nuclear reactors. in short SMRs. So with this new legislation that was introduced by Governor Braun for the introduction of this new technology, they passed the buck on to the city of Michigan City as a standard ratepayer, just like everybody else. So I would encourage you as the local government to go to NIPSCO and say, hey, or go to Governor Braun and say, hey, because you've got to do what you got to do to sustain the city, correct? Correct. So instead of being a standard ratepayer and him passing on this legislation, there's nothing you can do about that now, but see what you can do to not be a standard ratepayer, because it's going to go up even more.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? Having none, public comment is closed. And yeah, thank you, Mary Lynn, for the explanation of the $500,000. Okay. And that also will be advertised in the Herald Dispatch on November 19th, and there will be a formal public hearing at our next council meeting on December the 2nd. Madam Clerk, our next ordinance on first reading by title only.
An ordinance on first reading by title only, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the Personnel Department of the General Fund for salaries and wages. This is introduced by Mr. Beatry and Dr. Cora.
And does the sponsor have anything you'd like to add this evening?
Yes, Mr. President. Marilyn, can you give this explanation on this increase for the salaries in personnel department, please?
Yes, Mary Lynn Wall, City Controller. Still have to go back to 2024 when this budget was presented. We had a personnel department of one person. And that's how the budget was set in 2024 for 2025. When Mayor Angie came in, in 2025, it was decided that we wanted to reorganize the personnel department. So now we have a personnel director, an assistant director, and we have an assistant. So obviously we have more people, and it's very much needed. We reached out to the sanitary district because we are actually handling a lot of their personnel issues. Well, all their personnel paperwork and what a normal personnel department would handle. We have an MOU with the sanitary district that's actually giving us money to help support this department. So we've received additional monies to help support the personnel department, but we still have to appropriate it up in the budget.
And
because
that money was put in the general fund.
Yes.
We're appropriating that money from the general.
Yes, because you still, even though we have the revenues, you still have to appropriate it up in the budget, and that's all we're asking for.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
You're welcome.
That's the explanation, Mr. President.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Cora. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? Anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? Any further council comments?
I got a comment.
Go ahead, Councilman Nelson.
Okay, from what I gathered from what she said, this is being paid to the overall department, not one individual.
Pardon? Could you speak up just a little bit, Councilman?
This is being paid to the overall department operations, not one individual.
No, just the overall department. The personnel department will not have adequate funds in their budget because we have been paying for 3 personnel when in the original budget that was done back in October of 2024 only had a personnel director in the budget. So this is why in order to have adequate funds to the end of the year, we need to now appropriate money into the budget because this was not the budget was not, or the department was not organized at that level at that time when when we presented the budget to the council and the council approved the budget, there was only a personnel director in the budget. Now we have 3. And so there's not enough money in that department of the general fund.
Is it common to wait until the budget is done to start appropriating things and finding out things that you don't know that you're going to need?
Well, it's appropriate at this time of the year because we want to take a look at our overall budget. And yes, in this case, we probably should have foreseen that we would need money before the end of the year. That's when we probably, that is true. But right now is the time when we're reviewing our budget. We wanted to keep it as lean as possible. As I mentioned before, we made this budget is very lean. And now we are needing some additional monies to be budgeted for the end of the year. But it's just the nature of that we're at the end of the year now. And we're hoping we only want to appropriate in what we feel like we need.
Overall, can you give me a number of what we're trying to appropriate?
From the general fund?
Yes.
Yep, let me look at, because I worked that number up earlier. Give me a minute. What to do? From the general fund, we are appropriating $960,000. And that takes into consideration the 4 ordinances that are appropriating from the general fund. Like I said, this question was asked of me earlier today, so I have the number.
And what was in the overall general fund?
Excuse me?
And what was in the overall general fund?
Well, the overall balance in the general fund, because we always want to make sure we have an adequate cash balance at the end of the year, will be approximately $4.4 million. Still available in the general fund at the end of the year as a cash balance.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions by council members? Okay, having none, this ordinance will be held over to our December 2nd meeting, and this also will be advertised in the Herald Dispatch November 19th, and there will be a formal public hearing at our next meeting on December the 2nd. And Madam Clerk, our next ordinance on first reading by title only.
An ordinance on first reading by title only, approving additional appropriation in the budget of the rainy day fund for payment of the demolition of Millennium Plaza Fountain, introduced by Mr. Dabney.
And does the author have anything you'd like to add at this time?
No, this is just a quick comment. This is the same type of thing that we're talking about with all the other appropriations that we're doing right now. But as this one says, this one is coming from the rainy day fund. But same type of action that's happening with all the others, but this one is coming out of the rainy day fund.
Thank you, Councilman. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this ordinance?
Oh, yes, this is Tommy Kolavic from 1316 Ohio Street. I know it's not question and answer session, but a lot of members of the public like to know who the general contractor is going to be for this project. And just my comment is that file was just nothing but a pork barrel project of Mayor Sheila Brillson's administration. Turned out to be one big cash cow. Please, for the love of God, no more water features with this park. We need to put in this new destination plan. Don't include any water features. I know in the new developments made for, I know the developer, Mr. Resco, for the 5th and Pine, he said it's going to have a pool area. He said the public is going to be able to access that swimming pool area. I think maybe I'll ask if I see Mr. Goodman from Seoul, I'm going to ask if the public can access their pool area. But I just want to say just no more water features. And I think it's a really sad state. I think Scott Mellon mentioned it's a really sad state of affairs that we spent thousands of dollars to put in this big fancy piece of infrastructure. Thousands of dollars, and all we got was 20 years out of it. So it's kind of good to see it go. It'd be nice to have the concerts and not have the big non-functional fountain feature there.
Okay, anyone else from the public wish to speak on this ordinance?
I'd like the council and the city to remember this. A lot of them bricks were paid for by the city residents to honor their families. I'm asking, if you're going to take it apart, could you take it apart so the family could reclaim that brick because we did pay for all that to be done. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a great point. Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this ordinance? Any council members?
I got one.
Coulter?
Can you talk about this really quick? You look like you really want to.
Yeah.
They're gonna repurpose them. At the playground.
Patrick Bolts, Maintenance Director, Park Department. None of the bricks are going anywhere. Part of the design will be to, once the fountain is removed, we will be adding pavers. So there will actually be locations for even more bricks, but none of the bricks that are there will be removed.
Okay, and I do have a couple questions. You know, this afternoon, Pat, you and I had a discussion. We were talking about this. I just want to get the details behind it. And can you just explain to the other council members here, because I don't know if they know all the details about what's going on with this fountain and why the city's paying $160,000 instead of us, you know, doing it ourselves, because there's restrictions. So could you just explain to the general public and to the council members why we're doing what we're doing?
There is electric and plumbing involved, so that needs a licensed electrician. There is programming already scheduled in the park, so this would have to be done kind of during off season. We will not have staff at that point. We're down to minimal staff in the winter, and we do not in-house have the equipment to remove and move the concrete in a timely manner. So that is why we're where we're at with that.
Okay, didn't you also mention the fact that we don't have the equipment to get down to the work level that this concrete?
Yeah, we don't
want
want to add to this project by doing more damage elsewhere in the park trying to get it out. So
Right, so you'll have to bring in contractors to do that kind of work.
Yep.
And I guess the company it's a company from Chicago, Fountain First.
Well,
Fountains or
the
something
company
like that?
from Chicago was who we brought in for a budgetary quote.
Oh, okay.
So we had an engineer and a company come in for a budgetary quote just to make sure the numbers were jiving.
Okay.
So.
All right. Any other questions? Thank you for the explanation.
Yes.
Thanks for being here. Councilman Dabney?
Just want to inform the public, this has been going on through the Park Department Board of Directors meeting discussion of whether we should sort of try to refurbish this thing versus take it out. And the expense of actually trying to refurbish, I believe, was almost 4 times as much, 3 or 4 times as much as what we're doing in terms of just taking this thing out. So I just wanted the public to know that this was discussed and voted on by the board from the board of directors of the Park Department to end up taking this fountain out.
Okay, thank you, Councilman. Councilman Coulter, you got?
Yeah, I just have a quick question for Mary Lynn. We've been talking about the general fund all evening, and now we're talking about the rainy day. I just want to know why the difference.
Partly because it's a park project and there really isn't as much. I mean, we try to keep, the park department is not, it probably doesn't have as quite as large of a cash balance. So we didn't want to appropriate it out of the park budget. So that's really why that decision was made to take it out of rainy day as opposed to the general fund, because this is really a park department project. Take it out of I said rainy day fund, correct.
Yeah, and I just want to comment on not necessarily the ordinance, but on the fountain itself, the installation of the fountain, the Millennium Plaza Park area. When Mayor Brilson developed it, built it, I thought it was beautiful then and a great addition to the park area and to that. As you come into the park, you see this big, beautiful area for the public to have concerts, to have weddings. And then you had this big, beautiful fountain. I guess everybody has their own personal tastes on what they want with water attractions. But I don't think it was so much a waste of time as been mentioned installing it 25 years ago. I think where the waste of time came from was the lack of maintenance, taking care of this investment. You know, you have to be careful. If you're going to put something in, you have to have the funding to maintain it for, I just want to say, a lifetime. And a lifetime means different things to different people. But yeah, I thought it was beautiful then. It's not beautiful now. We know that because it costs $800,000 to renovate this. But at the time, I thought it was a great investment in the downtown. And now, because I like going down there and taking in the concerts on Saturday night, it's a lot of fun. And we will remove the fountain and refurbish it with bricks. Is that the idea here, Pat? Put in bricks there, and it'll make more room. It'll be more attractive, and more people can come down and enjoy the, the music and the cocktails on the weekend and have some fun. So, okay, those are my comments. And as on the other ordinances, this will be advertised.
I have a comment.
Oh, okay, go ahead, Councilman Nelson.
Okay, is anybody from the park department there?
Yeah, Pat Volz is here. He's the gentleman that just got up and spoke. Pat, would you come to the microphone and address the question, please?
I like Pat. How you doing, Pat?
How you doing?
Good. Okay, so from my knowledge, it's going to cost $160 to revamp this.
Yeah, to remove it, yes.
What do y'all have in y'all funds?
Well, we didn't originally have the care of the fountain. We inherited it, and we had never had a budget increase for anything with the fountain.
Mm-hmm. I guess my question is, with it being put in and because it's utilized throughout the summer, are y'all not gaining any revenue from that space to where you just want to minimize it?
Well, I mean, it's either repair or remove at this point, and the repair costs were significantly higher.
Okay. And we're at 160 with general. I got a question for Mary.
Yep.
What do we have in the rainy day fund?
I think we just heard the cash balance. And I think I ran it again. Right now, we have $1.4 million, and that's including any, because we do have some we do have some encumbrances. So there's $1.4 million still remaining in the rainy day fund.
What does the park department have in their funds?
That I don't know. I didn't run that because it wasn't being appropriated out of the park fund. So I don't have that with me.
And initially, the city paid for this, not the park department.
That I don't know what the funding source was for the original, because that was back, like everybody mentioned, back in Mayor Sheila's time. So I don't know what the funding source was for the building of the fountain.
Okay, I'm in a position where I'm trying to build the rainy day fund up. So to be taken away from it, from different entities, that something that wasn't successful, I think we should meet halfway. So whatever the park department has, like they should be able to contribute to this demolition or revamping or whatever it is that we're doing with this spot. I've been a resident here my whole life. Like, people come and they enjoy themselves in that area. So I'm just kind of confused as to why we are demolishing it and moving forward in a different direction to make it a spot to where it's unpleasurable. Where people don't come and enjoy it anymore. So,
well, I think as the councilman mentioned earlier, Pat, that area is now being used more than what it has been years ago.
Yes, it is.
And I could, with the concerts and now we have. So I think years ago, I don't think it was used as much as it is now, and I think they're hoping that this will actually benefit the programming and the events that they can have there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Nelson. Any other comments by council members? Councilman Coulter?
Thank you, Mr. Prespolinski. So early on in my term, we had a meet and greet at Dune Billy's, just kind of giving some context here, for the first ward people to come out and just kind of talk to me and Dabney about some of the things going on. And we talked about this fountain for a really long time at that meeting. Because originally people were kind of interested in like doing some sort of fundraiser to save this thing. But with the $500,000 price tag, we lost a lot of interest fast. And so I'm really proud of the park board and the park staff on their decision to get rid of this fountain. Like we've said, it makes that park way more usable. Before Harbor Country Adventures started doing their concerts there, nobody was using that park. So within the last couple of years, this is the first time that people have actually started using Millennium Plaza. Taking out the fountain's going to help. Thank you.
Okay, any other council comments? All right, having none, this also will be advertised in the Herald Dispatch on November 19th, and a formal public hearing will be held at our next council meeting on December the 2nd. And that is it on that ordinance. And we have our first ordinance on third reading by title only. Madam Clerk?
An ordinance on third reading by title only, ratifying and reaffirming certain findings, determinations, and designations in ordinance number 4771 regarding the establishment of an economic improvement district and authorizing and approving other actions with respect thereto. This is introduced by Ms. Tillman, and this ordinance was tabled at the November 4th meeting until the November 18th council meeting.
And I know that the author is not here this evening, but I would like the motion to retable this ordinance until our December 12th.
Second.
Okay,
December
to our December 2nd.
December 2nd.
Yeah, meeting, so that we can get the report back from Attorney Harris, and we can put it all together at that time and make a decision, okay? So there's a motion by Councilman Perbolinski. Who seconded it? Nelson?
Yes, I did.
Okay, Councilman Nelson seconded it. Madam Clerk, on the vote?
Mr. Coulter?
Aye.
Mr. Dabney?
Aye.
Dr. Cora?
Aye.
Ms. Moldenhauer?
Aye.
Mr. Nelson?
Aye.
Mr. Prespolinski?
Aye.
6 in favor, 0 opposed.
All right, thank you, Madam Clerk. Now we're on to new business. FYI, the council has 2 appointments to the Redevelopment Commission. The incumbents presently are Tracy Tillman and Cherie Wilson. Their terms are expiring 12/31/2025. And the new terms, whoever the new appointees are, will begin on 12/31/2025 and expire on 12/31/2026. Is there any unfinished business?
No.
I have one thing that I'd like to bring up, because I know that all the not all, but certain boards have to do annual reports, and I believe that there's 2 committees that are still sitting out that haven't done their annual report. And one of is the Sustainability Committee hasn't given an annual report yet this year. So we need to get that done. And the Women's Commission, who is represented from Councilwoman Daisy Lee, she has to get a hold of the Women's Commission and get their report presented to the council, scheduled and presented to the council in 2025 yet. Any comments from the public?
Yes, Tommy Kolovic from 1316 Ohio Street. Naturally, I want to congratulate our Michigan City Wolves football team winning the sectional championship. I think that was great. I know a few of our players, Zaire McKinney, he led the area in receiving. Tristan Hart, he led the area in passing, and Ethan Buskirk, he led the area in tackles. I think it was great. I thank all the businesses for their show of support on their business marquees. I think I'll never get tired of seeing that. I know that goes all the way back to the '66 Elston Red Devil state champion. That's really big around the state. When Michigan City, no exception to that. Thanks to the fire and police. I know when they came back from LaPorte, they gave them their police fire escort. I thought one of the big thing was they actually went over and beat Valpo twice this year. They never beat Valpo back to back ever in school history. I thought that was awesome. Another great thing I want to report: the Michigan City Marquette girls basketball team. The rankings came out today. They're the #1 team in the state in Class 1A. And they're led by their Miss Basketball candidate, Lanaya Davis. I think next week I'll be late for the meeting. They got a home game against Hammond Morton. That'll be a good game. I think they'll give them a good challenge. I just want to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving, and gobble gobble, said the turkey. Soon will be Thanksgiving Day. How will you treat me? How will you eat me? I'll run away.
All right, thank you, Tommy.
It's okay. It's okay.
Good evening, I'm Sal Dunlap, 729 East Michigan Boulevard. Before I get into the meat of what I have to say is, I came tonight to fight for that $102,000 salary for the clerk, and she's not even here. But certainly being represented by a competent assistant. I want to refer to a letter, if I may, that was recorded in the clerk's office. It's from Rodney McCormick to the president of the council. I'll just read you a portion of it. It is worth noting that this is not the first time Scott, there he is, has chosen to interrupt me and express opposing views. As the president of the board, it is your duty to address and correct such behavior. Despite any differences in opinion, I have always provided my contact information and welcome open communications. If individuals have personal concerns, I encourage them to use those channels instead of public forums. Furthermore, he goes on to say, I take issues with Sal, S-A-L, he spelled my name, Dunlap's behavior, where he threatened me while speaking at the microphone. I have no problem with individuals rebutting facts, but I do take issues with intimidation tactics, particularly when someone is dressed in African attire, holding a stick, and attempting to appear confrontational. One of the things that Martin Luther King said that has really stayed with me forever and ever and forever will, don't have anybody over here. In all the world, there's nothing more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. Now, black folks and white folks in Michigan City rarely agree 100%. But I think we do agree on Rodney McCormick. You all don't want him, and we don't want him either. The bottom line here is that this is an opportunity to advance Michigan City. For anybody who would take issue with someone celebrating their culture, as I often do in wearing my African garb, speaks to their lack of understanding who they are and what they're about. This is not a stick.
Sal, if you would, wrap up.
Not a stick. It's a cane. A very gorgeous cane that I enjoy wearing. I want to appreciate this time. I've said before, again and again, what my background is all about. I have worked for the Office of Recycling in Washington, D.C. I know something about recycling. I've offered to support whatever is going on regarding recycling. I'm not going to chase you.
Mr.
You can share my time in spirit. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, let this young lady go first and then you can go. And I know the majority of the public knows this, but for new folks that are here tonight, public comment is 3 minutes.
I understand. Chevy Woodard, 7401 West US Highway 20. In my opinion, it is important for the city and its local leaders to employ some practices that would tamper down some of the outrage from the community members. I think that, in my opinion, the best way to do that would be to first clarify. For instance, saying, just to be clear, is this your contention? Then to convey, okay, this is my position. And then to convince, at least to try to say, well, this is what we see is beneficial. But then if you can't come to a term where you can convince the citizens, then it's very important to come to a consensus and not to name call or not to just outright refuse to hear, but to always come to a consensus on what it is that you have a difference of opinion on. One of the most biggest outrages right now would be the Phoenix investors. And I don't think that anybody here, that Project Maze, I don't think anybody here on this panel voted for Governor Braun. But I think that it would have done some due diligence if you have done just a little bit more research into Senate Enroll Act 1007. Because what was done by the city passing on the tax incentives, which this Senate Enroll Act made very easy to do, is you inadvertently became partners with this private investor and this land dispute, inadvertently, meaning not intentionally. And the agenda of Governor Braun is the quantum corridor. So I suggest you do some research on that. And by passing on these tax incentives and abatements, as it particularly pertains to the quantum corridor, Braun wants Indiana to be the front runner in data centers. So it would have done some due diligence just to look into that. It was going to come, correct? But you became silent partners. So now it comes to a point where you have to come up to a consensus with the public. You need to hear them. You may not agree with them, but you need to hear from them. My husband has been in Michigan City, Indiana since he was born here, 61 years old now. My real intent, number one intent to come what's for here is this city has no future without children. And the children are watching the adults fight. And they're going to leave this city like their hair's on fire. How do I know this? Well, I drive the school bus for 11 years, and I talk to them.
Can you summarize, please, ma'am?
Yes. So in summary, stop fighting and come to some solutions and stop name calling. You will see me more often here because I have a lot to say. And I'll leave it there. But you guys need to vet things a little bit more thoroughly because there's long games in these things. And you did inadvertently become silent partners with this investor, whether you realize it or not.
Thank you.
Have a great evening.
Xavier Silva, 2734 Ohio Street. I'm new to all of this, so I appreciate being here tonight and seeing how this all works. Some concerns that I have or things I'd like to point out are I believe that Ohio Street is unarguably one of the busiest streets in our city. I know this because I see fire, police, and ambulance constantly, whether it's in the evening or at night, in the morning. I'm curious to see when that road from 7th Street in Ohio Street to 20 in Ohio Street would be possibly redeveloped with new sidewalks. There's a lot of standing water on hard rains and when the snow melts. For my oldest daughter, it's an enjoyment to splash in the puddles. For me, it's a bit of a nuisance to walk through. And it's just a bit unfortunate to see a lack of water drainage on that street. I've personally taken pictures of it for proof, but that's a concern of mine. Another is, I believe is it 7th Street and Ohio Street where they ripped down the buildings and there's the open grass space. I believe that was supposed to be for public development at some point several years back of some sort, and nothing's become of it. I remember going to church one Sunday and they were giving out papers to vote on what we would like to see there and that space, and nothing's really become of it. I don't know why. I'm curious as to why. And another thing I'd like to point out last is I think it's great to see the development of these, like the train tracks and the apartments and the solar that's starting soon. But I'd like to see more projects that benefit the citizens here, not the ones across the state line in Illinois. I feel that that's a big focus with the city, is how to cater to the taxpayers in Illinois and Chicago as opposed to the taxpayers here. The people here tonight who live in this city, they're your bread and butter for your taxes year round, not the people in Chicago. So I would like to see more development that benefits the citizens here. I'll give you one example. I'm a father of 2 kids. If I want to have a fun time in the wintertime, we go to the Hobart Mall, to Kids Empire, or to Fireflies in Chesterton. Why don't we have something of that nature here where we don't have to leave the city on, say, a cold winter's night if we want to get out and we're stir crazy? Why aren't we investing in stuff like that here? Why are we so focused on the development of these apartment complexes that I myself, making over $50 an hour, cannot afford to live in? To me, that's unfortunate. I really hope that the Ohio Street can be a focus to be redone at some point, probably in the next decade. Development for a fun time for families to do here in Michigan City. And I believe, did I have a third one? I can't recall now. Those are my complaints I bring to you guys. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else from the public wish to speak?
Again, my name is Josh. I live at 2108 Pear Street. Michigan City's in a crisis. It's just not crime or economics, but it's leadership. A crisis rooted in decisions and consistently favoring outside interest over the people who live here, just as this other gentleman said. More than 31,000 people call Michigan City home, and far too many struggle to afford basic things like food, housing, and medical care. Meanwhile, we're told the city is doing well, and we heard tonight that we can't even make a budget right. Now we have the data center, which was a data center and now isn't a data center, and we had community leaders that were arrested there. Now, Mayor Angie told us at the fire department that the city has nothing to do with this. So when was someone going to step in with the 3 times that the police showed up? No one went to verify to figure out that Phoenix didn't own the road, because they were arrested on the road. So at a certain point, the city does become involved because there's negligence. This whole data center thing has been a problem for a while now. So the fact that we've sent police officers out there 3 separate occasions, and on the 3rd time people were arrested, and it was claimed that they were on private property when they in fact were not, it would kind of seem to me that we would have taken the steps in the first 2 times we went there to verify the fact, instead of arresting people and confiscating their stuff for no reason. They had every right to be there, and they have every right to continue to be there. Let's see here. Basically what I'm saying tonight, and it's just like we were talking about the police budget. I live on Carroll Avenue, and all night long I hear ambulances, police, fire, you name it. They literally don't sound like they're stopping. We're going to sit here and try to figure out why there's overtime and everything else. It's because the public's being lied to on how safe this city is. Again, just a few weeks ago, we're trying to enjoy our afternoon, and we have 2 kids shooting at each other in our alleyway. Now we have bullet holes in our fences and stuff. What's going to happen when someone's kid gets shot? It happens all the time. And then we want to act like, oh, why do they have overtime? When I moved to this city, I needed a job. So I got a job at the local Domino's. I had to quit that job because I went to the apartment complexes over off 20 and there was gunfire actively happening while I was trying to deliver a pizza. I'm from South Bend, Indiana, one of the most dangerous cities per capita in the state of Indiana. And I promise you, I've heard more gunshots here than I have in the 16 years I lived there. We sit here every time and we hear about how everything's getting safer. Maybe we should take some of the $5 million that we have extra from the budget and actually put it into police officers that want to police our streets. There's been a laundry list of things that have happened to people in our police department that the public knows about, and that's also one of the reasons why you can't get police officers in this city.
If you could summarize. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
All right, last call for public comment.
Hello, Scott Melland.
Wait a minute, Scott. You'll be able to talk, ma'am. Did you want to talk? Yeah, let this gentleman finish first. Go ahead, Scott.
Hello, Scott Melland, 200 Kenwood Place. Clearly, we have so much happening in town, strong feelings have been brought forth by many people. I believe in a free marketplace of ideas. We're not always going to agree, but this should be a safe place for civil discourse, to share our differences. I have been violently, verbally assaulted twice now, just outside these chambers, with somebody that doesn't agree with me. In both cases, police were involved. That should not happen. You don't change opinions by only talking to people who agree with you. You need to engage with those that don't agree with you if you want to engage change. That's all. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Charlene. I live at 2108 Pear Street. And I just want to mirror some of the comments made earlier about people leaving the city. I know that we've had quite a few students pulled from our school system and moved to another school system, and that hasn't really been addressed here. And I feel like it needs to be. Our children are going to leave and they're not going to come back. And there's a reason why. We're not giving them jobs. We're not giving them affordable housing. We're not giving them any stability. The kids can't be on the street. The kids can't be doing anything, but there's nowhere for them to go. Our YMCA is falling apart. Our Boys and Girls Club does not cater to our teenagers. I have teenagers that have nowhere to go. And they can't even walk down the street to go play basketball without somebody harassing them because they're in the street. They have nowhere to go. And so my plea for you is to please find somewhere for our children to grow up and give them a space that they can stay in and give them the stability to be citizens of this city instead of being turned away. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Dominic Yankee, 904 Willow Spring Drive. I would like to thank council members Lee and Moldenhauer for sitting down with me and talking about my email that I sent them, but I'm disappointed that 5 council members didn't return my email from 1 month ago. At the last council meeting, I was informed by the mayor that Phoenix Investors website would be forthcoming in 1.5 to 2 weeks. It has been 2 weeks, and Phoenix Investors hasn't delivered on their website as promised. I was disappointed to learn that Michigan City reached out to Phoenix Investors, asking them to return the portion of Royal Road that they allegedly own. Phoenix, I'm sure, was happy to receive that correspondence, and they took advantage of it by having union members arrested. Whether intentional or not, official city outreach led to union members being harmed. Additionally, the street department had one of their vehicles remove the snow from that street, even though supposedly it's owned by the data center. I believe that the union is owed an apology from Michigan City, and I am still not convinced that Phoenix owns part of Royal Road. Also, I think City Council and the mayor should ask Phoenix Investors to water down their dust because Phoenix Investors had a street sweeper out and they purposefully aimed the dust at the protesters that the street sweeper kicked up. Anyways, thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Last call for public comment.
I just want to reiterate for everybody here,
Your name and address, sir?
2734 Ohio Street, Michigan City, Indiana, Xavier Silva. Please start focusing on the taxpayers of this city and not the Illinois residents.
Thank you. Public comment is now closed. Council comments? Any council comments? Councilman Coulter?
Thanks, President Mosbelinsky. So I wanted to give an update on some of the SNAP benefits and the giving market that we're having on Saturday at Burnham. So the SNAP benefits, as most people know, weren't being paid at the beginning of November. So for the first couple of weeks, people at the beginning of the alphabet weren't receiving their top-ups on their EBT cards. So those should be getting retroactive payments starting yesterday or today. I don't have confirmation if people are receiving those, but I know that the plan is for those to be getting topped up today for the people at the start of the alphabet. So with that, I wanted to talk a little bit about the giving market. So that is something that's put on by our farmers market that happens here in Michigan City in the summer. They recognized that we needed to have a market for people who are struggling right now. So as people are familiar with, in the summer, people with SNAP benefits can go to the farmed and foraged market and get 3 times their SNAP benefits paid up in fresh vegetables. That's not something that's going to happen at this market. That benefit is something that's set up through the summer. And as you can imagine, when the government shut down, there's no one to really send that application to for an emergency market. So there will not be triple up SNAP benefits at this market, but instead people who have an EBT card can show their EBT card and get a free box of vegetables from the Northwest Indiana Food Pantry, I believe. No, from Region Roots, I believe. There's a free box of vegetables. So that's at Burnham here in Michigan City on it's on Highway 12. If you're not familiar with it, it's the other side of the casino. And that is from 12 to 4. That's the last detail I was trying to remember. And then the other thing I wanted to say is that every once in a while, it's not the right way to introduce that. But as people are familiar, the United States is celebrating its 250th birthday next year. And one of the things that's going on with that is this PBS documentary. This is me introducing you guys to a PBS documentary. It's really good and really patriotic, and I think every American should watch this. There's the first one's out now. The new ones come out on Sundays. It's a 6-part series from Ken Burns, and I'd highly recommend it. Thank you.
Councilwoman Mullenhour?
Thank you. I actually was able to attend the Homeward Bound Villages on Carwick's ribbon cutting ceremony, which happened on Saturday. And 3 of those residences are ready for occupancy immediately. And then there'll be an additional 3 more available in approximately 2 to 3 weeks. This foundation was the foundation has been poured for the community center, which is going to service that community. And this actually is a shared supportive learning community. So everybody who lives there will be working with each other to decide what they want for the community and to decide what's going to be first for them. This excitedly is the first unit of affordable housing that's been completed in Ward 6 and also in Michigan City. And I want to give heartfelt thanks to Michigan City for their $50,000 contribution that actually made this building possible. So each of you had a part in that, and I think you should feel really proud that we've moved ahead, even if it's just a little bit in the area of affordable housing. And LaPorte County contributed $100,000 towards this project. I had the opportunity to meet 4 very thankful future residents of Homeward Bound Villages on Carwick And I do want to recognize Dominic who's here. He's actually going to be on the transition board, which is going to help the residents come together, speak with each other, and make decisions for their communities. So thank you for volunteering for that. Very important contribution to this community. I'm going to add some more about the food pantries. I think this is really important because a lot of people are hurting and are scared right now in our community that they're going to be able to feed their families, especially their children. And I'm going to say again, like I did last meeting, mothers are the ones that usually go without eating to be sure that their offspring have food. So with that in mind, a lot of I should say all of the food pantries are still in need of and accepting donations on non-perishable foods and personal care items. I brought a new updated list that's down there in the front. The only thing that hasn't been confirmed is the Apostolic Lighthouse Church, but we think it's correct, but they didn't give a return phone call. And I really want to thank Jim Musial of the Concerned Citizens for the Homeless. He put his staff, his team to task to be sure everything was correct on this. So please pick that up, distribute it in the community to let people know all of these places are accepting donations and all of these places are places that people can go and get food if they need it. So thank you very much for those of you that have made contributions and will continue to do so through the Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Cora?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank everybody who has come here and given their ideas and expressed their concerns. And we're going to continue to work with the mayor and see how best we can address that. Mr. President, I just returned from Washington today. One of the concerns I have had, and the reason I went there was to address the issue about healthcare and about the tax subsidies for folks who are on the exchanges whose tax subsidies are expiring at the end of the year. So we've been working on that, and that is something that I see in my professional life every day. And then during this government shutdown, we also saw the SNAP benefits being taken away and how much it has affected people. And I'm glad the shutdown is over. At least people can have their SNAP benefits restored, and we'll continue to work on the healthcare issue as best as we can in this environment that we are in. Councilman Moltenar also wanted to thank Unity Foundation and Healthcare Foundation of LaPorte for their contributions for that affordable housing project that you discussed. And I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you very much.
Councilman Dabney or Nelson, anything? No? Okay. I just want to wish everybody a, sorry, man, public comments over. No. Public comment is over. So, yeah. But I just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. And I just want to comment on some of the, I don't know, maybe I'm going to say attitudes or how people feel when they come to the council meetings. Like this is a battleground and, you know, we're going to fight one another and I don't like you, you don't like me. You know, basically, this is supposed to be a civic, civil meeting where people can discuss their opinions, give their opinions, may not agree with their opinion. I don't agree with everybody's opinion. And there's council members up here that don't agree with my opinion. I don't agree with their opinion sometimes. but that doesn't mean you have public outbursts at a meeting or you say bad things about people. And I'm just hoping going into 2026 that we can have a better attitude when folks come to the council meetings and be more, I guess, humane with each other. You know, you don't have to sit, and I don't care what political party you belong to, but I know the one that I belong to, when I sit and then look at what comes out of the White House on a daily basis and what fuels people and what gets people excited or gets them mad, I think translates into thinking that the same thing can take place here in the city council chamber, and it just shouldn't be happening. I know Michigan City's better than that. I know Mr. Dunlap, you know, he expressed his opinions tonight. Mr. Medlin, he expressed some of his opinions tonight. And I'm sure if other people were here, they'd express their opinions too. But to me, I just think it needs to get better. It should get better, because the bottom line is Michigan City's better than this. And I just want the council chambers to be a professional place and a place that people can feel safe to come to and express their opinions and not worry about what the person at the other end of the aisle is thinking about them. So with that being said, happy Thanksgiving to everybody, you know, and enjoy your holiday. And if you can help somebody that's in need, you know, go out there and help them and give them a hug and give them some turkey and stuffing and a glass of wine and break bread with them. All right? Okay. Is there a motion to
Make a
adjourn?
motion to adjourn.
Council meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.